Welcome to KBS World Radio. You're now tuned in to Korea24's Korea Book Club, where we explore the world of Korean literature. This is our weekend replay edition, playing back our book segment from Wednesday's show. We hope you enjoy it. I'm your host, Kwon Jang-woo. This week we have with us Barry Welsh, our literary critic and long-time contributor. He joins us in the studio. Barry, hello. It's great to see you again.
Yes, hello. It's great to be here.
So today I understand that you have something a little different for us. It's a recently published book. I believe it was published in March. But it's not a Korean book that's been translated into English, but a book that was written in English originally. But it's by a Korean author, a Korean-American author, I believe. And it's set in Korea, although not as we know it, right? Can you tell us more?
Yes, right. So absolutely correct. So today we are reviewing Luminous, a very powerful and moving debut novel by Silvia Park. And it's a novel that blends speculative fiction with a gripping family mystery. And it's set in a reunified Korea of the near future. And it follows three estranged siblings, so two human, or at least two mostly human siblings and one robot, who are forced back into each other's lives after years of being separated for various reasons. But the story doesn't begin with them. It begins with an 11-year-old girl named Ruiji, who is scavenging in a junkyard and stumbles upon something extraordinary, a lifelike robot child, a robot boy, who is seemingly forgotten and broken and has been discarded by whoever the boy's robot's owner was. This robot child turns out to be Yoyo, who is an early humanoid prototype created by a sort of brilliant, secretive father, a kind of robotic Steve Jobs kind of character, and the long-lost brother, in a way, of June and Morgan. And June is now a detective who investigates robot-related crimes in this near-future version of Seoul. And Morgan is sort of a high-flying robotics engineer whose latest project is sort of spiraling out of control and just perhaps beyond her capabilities. And as the story unfolds, it's really all about exploring themes of memory, of identity, of what it means to be human, and it's set against this backdrop of both this near-future Seoul and also a murder investigation, and then also the rising tensions between people and the robots that sort of work and live around them. And if you like your fiction with a generous amount of emotional depth and a bit of mystery and more than a touch of Blade Runner style soul searching, then Luminous is definitely one that you might want to check out.
Right, so it does sound like this book is a mix of genres like YA or young adult adventure novels with a sort of adult cyberpunk drama, should we say. How does that balance work in Luminous?
Right, yeah, so when I started reading it, so I thought it was going to be a young adult novel, and it certainly starts like that, and it is a little bit of an unusual mix, but that certainly helps the story stand out. So like I said, the story begins with this young girl, Ruiji, I think is how you say her name, and she has a sort of medical issues, and these are very important for the story and important for her, and she's sort of scavenging for robot parts in a junkyard. And this is sort of very, seems like the beginning of a kind of a quirky, hopeful young adult sci-fi story, because this is where she discovers Yoyo, who is this sort of oddly human-like robot boy. And this section of the novel with those two characters, it could almost be a sort of a touching coming-of-age friendship story. But Silvia Park doesn't just stop with that strand of the story. The tone quickly shifts when we're introduced to June and Morgan. And June's a very different character. So June's a hard-edged war veteran who fought in the sort of the reunification war, which brought North and South Korea back together. And he's now a detective who's more machine than man. So he's replaced lots of his body with sort of robotic parts for various reasons. And the story pulls us into this sort of very gritty cyberpunk story where we have robot sex addiction and war trauma and sort of corporate corruption and so on. And so you have this contrast between the wide-eyed innocence of a child forming a bond with a robot, and then this very jaded, cynical adult world of bodily augmentation and emotional disconnection. And this might feel a little jarring at first for some readers, but I think it's really intentional. So one of the central themes of the novel is this idea of hybridization. So not just people merging with machines, but also genres and even emotional registers blending together. And so it doesn't always feel smooth and maybe isn't entirely 100% successful, but it does capture something messy and genuine about growing up in this world that's shaped by loss and grief and technology.
Yes, well, it sounds very ambitious for a debut novel indeed. Park certainly didn't take an easy path. It seems there's a lot going on thematically as well. Grief, identity, disability, and even the ethics of AI, which is also quite topical nowadays, of course. It sounds like it could be quite overwhelming. But how does Park fare? Is she able to bring it all together, do you think?
Yeah, right. So it is a lot. There is a lot going on in this novel, but I thought generally, overall, it does hold together pretty well. It feels very ambitious, but in a good way. And it's like she took every big or significant question that we're already asking about AI and robotics and identity and the body, and then just sort of stuck them all into this very personal and emotionally charged story about grief and family. And the center of the story is this robot boy, Yoyo, and Yoyo's been created in the image of a dead family member. And his very existence and the reason why he's sort of been discarded is wrapped up in this sort of layers of grief and loss and so on. And his siblings, they're dealing with this grief in very different ways. So June, this sort of mostly bionic war veteran, he's wrestling with questions of bodily autonomy. And the robotic enhancements that he's sort of pursued have given him this very masculine body that he's dreamed of for most of his life, but has come at a very steep emotional cost, a very significant financial cost. And then his sister, Morgan, has opted out of human relationships altogether, and she's replaced these real relationships by designing her own robot boyfriend. And so their interactions raise what are really very timely questions just now. So where does personhood begin? Can a machine offer genuine comfort? What does it mean to be real? So the novel does throw a lot at you, but I don't think it's random on the part of Silvia Park. Very messy, but the characters' lives are messy, and this near future world that she's depicting is also very messy. And her writing is quite funny at times. It's very sharp, sometimes quite beautiful. And guides you through all these sort of disparate elements without losing this emotional core. But it is a novel with lots of big ideas, but it also has a lot of heart too.
Once again, it's called Luminous by Silvia Park, and that was our pick for Korea Book Club this week. Barry, thank you for that review once again this week, and we'll see you next time. Take care.
Okay, take care.